team that I'm most worried about, guys, is Kansas. And the reason being is they have no serious inside presence. And whenever you have a guy like David McCormack who needs to be that guy for them, it's the most befuddling thing as to why he's not productive, because there's not a coach in the country that's better at finding creative ways to get the ball to his big man with deep post position than Bill Self. The fact that McCormack hasn't been productive is amazing to me. I don't understand how that's possible. Usually they have a huge guy in there, whether that be Udoka Azubuike, or they've had somebody that's consistently productive in the post. They need him to be that for Kansas to be able to realize their potential. And that would be too bad, because they have a lot of talent at the guard and wing spots. They need that 5-man within that offense to put pressure on the rim. That worries me more than anything. And playing 10 minutes against Iowa State and not getting a shot up and only having 4 rebounds, find a way to be productive, man. You got to figure out some way to be productive. For Kansas to be as good as they can be, he needs to step up in a major way. And I'm just shocked because he was so good last year.
Yeah, I've honestly gotten to the point where I think that Bill Self needs to find a different answer. It's not going to be McCormack this year. That turnaround is not coming. So whether it's relying on Jalen Wilson to be your 5-man, or getting KJ Adams or Zach Clements enough minutes where they can play that role, or just going all in on Mitch Lightfoot and saying, you know what, if he may not be the best, and he's probably a backup in his ideal role, but if he's going to go out and do the job that I need him to do, maybe that's the answer. I just don't think that you can continually roll out David McCormack when he's not doing what you want to do. Right, John?
You're absolutely right. Both of you are, and that would be the team that I'd be most concerned about that's in that top echelon we've talked about when speaking about teams that can make it to New Orleans. If you don't have a consistent post presence, it's going to be very difficult to get there. You know why? Because if you look at the teams that we talk about, Baylor, how about the way that Auburn has jumped into this conversation with Walker Kessler and Cardwell and company, Jabari Smith and everything that he does, and we'll get to them a little bit later. But if you look at the front lines of these teams, if you look at Duke and what they have in Mark Williams and company, the physicality level is on a different level than what Kansas is playing on. Kansas may have someone that on his best day could be argued as the best player in the country in Ochai Agbaji. But if you can't box out, if you can't get bodies on people, this year, T.O., the sport is old. And you know what that makes it?
Tough.
It's a tough sport this year. You've got to get a body on somebody and make a box out and figure out a way to get a closeout. David McCormack changed everything for Kansas last season. And the thing is, Rob, the alternative options that you bring up are not guys that I would sit here and say, oh, end-all, be-all answer for what Kansas does at the 5. So this is a real challenge for Bill Self, because you might not have a true answer out of the guys that you just listed, between Jalen Wilson, between KJ Adams.
None of them are. None of them are the right answer. But you know who else isn't the right answer right now? David McCormack. Like, if he's not getting it done, you have to find a way to change something else to plug that gap. You have enough.
Well, I was about to bring up, like, maybe you have to revert your offense to outside in.
Yep.
To where Mitch Lightfoot, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Rob.
No, go ahead.
I'm kind of thinking about how you could fix things. And maybe you go outside in as opposed to inside out, which is what Kansas has been doing for the longest, because they go from Azubuike to McCormack. McCormack was good last year. He's not good, or he hasn't been as good this year. Like, you have to tinker with something. There's no coach in the country that I don't put Bill Self up with as far as figuring it out. Let me just say that before all of that. But they have a lot of guards that can get places. They have Ochai Agbaji, who has improved tremendously. Guys, we've seen it on a consistent basis. Maybe you put Mitch Lightfoot out there because of what he does well. What does he do well? He can dribble into handoffs. He sets great screens, and he does all the dirty work. So maybe put that to work, put him on the outside perimeter, initiate some offense, maybe a little bit in the same manner as UT uses John Fulkerson. Put him out on the perimeter, pass it, go screen, roll. Maybe every now and then you get 6 to 8 points, but then you get your other guys downhill. I just worry it's just that's something that Kansas has had in their staple for so long is that inside
and
presence.
it goes way past like Udoka as a boot. Like look at the best teams that he's had, whether it was like a Thomas Robinson, Landon Lucas did that job perfectly. He's so good at scheming ways to get big guys a post touch and a post steal. Well, all they have to do is catch, turn around, and dunk. And we got T.O. shifting all over the place over there.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, guys.
It's like you're in Fog Allen Fieldhouse and you have the sun coming in the window in that one moment in the afternoons where it blinds people in the corner. But I think at this point you kind of have to go all in on something else. McCormack is not the answer. We're in the middle of January, right? We are 6 weeks away from the start of tournament play. You have to start figuring out a different answer if we're at this point in the season and it's not David McCormack. You know who